Hi everyone, I welcome you back again to my channel. It is Health and Sports Acumen on YouTube and other social media platforms. Today I want to share with you a complicated common medical condition that we doesn't value, but then it has a side effect on our mental health, and then it can even give us seizure disorders. So all I'm talking about is malaria. Are you aware that malaria can give you a mental disorder? Are you aware that malaria can result in seizure disorders? Typical example is epilepsy, ye chrome kasem, ye beka se form yare and ase etre yare. So let me begin. How then do we get malaria? And I say malaria and then by a system. The plasmodium parasite gets injected into our system by a female anopheles mosquito. When they come into our system within 5 to 16 days or 5 to 15, they travel to our liver where they can multiply. From the liver, they attack or invade into our red blood cells where they multiply and then develop and then break down the red blood cells. Then by so doing, your immune system may respond. So once your immune system responds, the immune system releases immune cells that fight against these bacteria. Then we diagnose you of malaria. So how then can malaria cause a mental disorder or a seizure disorder? Not any common malaria, but then complicated form of the malaria, which is known as CM or cerebral malaria. So this cerebral malaria, what happens is that the plasmodium parasite travels to your brain through our vessels, through the brain vessels and other vessels in your brain. What they cause is that they cause the tiny veins to become sticky. Therefore, it prevents blood flow, enough blood flow to your brain and then vital parts of the brain. So by so doing, your system begins to fight against it. When it comes this way, it affects the way your brain functions, and then it affects neurotransmitters. When I say neurotransmitters, these are certain fluids that your brain needs to produce. It controls our emotions. So neurotransmitters controls our emotions, and therefore once they get infected and then once they are not functioning properly, it affects our system and then it may result in cerebral malaria. So this malaria is complicated, and then it can be or it can cause mental illnesses because once the brain or the neurotransmitters are not being produced, one may have a sign of hallucination. Hallucination here is what? Interpreting objects without external stimulus. Sometimes you hear voices in your ears, sometimes you see visions that are not real. So this is what we call hallucination, and then it can end you up in coma. The coma simply means a state of deep unconsciousness, which is characterized by a decreased reflection and authentic response, reduced brain activity, a prolonged unresponsiveness, and then lack of awareness and alertness. So coma has nothing to do with seeing images, something about what do we call it? Something about heaven and hell or something. Once you fall off unconscious and then you have these signs that I mentioned, you're falling into coma. Now I want to give you the signs that you see that you are getting cerebral malaria. Not any other common malaria can end you up in this seizure disorder or mental illness, but then specifically, normally or specifically cerebral malaria. So these are the signs. One, it comes with confusion, and then how we can identify the confusion becomes difficult because cerebral malaria normally affects children below age 5. It doesn't necessarily mean if you are more than age 5, you can't get cerebral malaria, but then the risk factor decreases as you age. So when the children becomes confused, normally we don't concentrate on that. The next one is hallucinations. Hallucinations here deals with you seeing or hearing voices and other things that are not real. The next one comes with seizures. Seizures is convulsion. You see, people with epilepsy, they normally, when they are about to get attacked, what they go through as a also like that. That is what we call seizure disorder, or a clear example of seizure disorder. And then a typical example is epilepsy, and that's a formulary. So malaria, this I'm talking about, can end you up in getting seizure disorder. Typically example, epilepsy, it can end you up in getting multiple or different kinds of mental illnesses. Thank you for sharing, and then thank you for commenting. Bye bye.